What about the chat window?
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah, hi. What about the chat window? There will be a chat button, right?
I'm a student. Soumya this side, ma'am.
Oh yeah, hi Soumya. So I'll just share the session notebooks. So only two people had told the other day that they wanted OCR and anomaly detection and images. And I'll be covering a bit of GANs, and then I'll be discussing the evaluation component for today. So I just woke up sometime back and I'm still like not very ready. So I've shared the particular document for the today's session, what on the broad agenda and things like that. I'll be taking a break now and then I'll be joining by 11 o'clock. All of you can go through the today's material. Before I go for a break, I'll share what will your component will be and how it will be done. So that when I come back from the break, you can ask questions regarding your evaluation component. So the first component will have 5 questions and they'll be given to you. And so those 5 questions will be given to you today. And you'll have to just find the answers for the 5 questions and then you'll have to answer it. And the second component will be a data set will be given to you. So you have to prepare today and you have to prepare an end-to-end notebook and you have to prepare an audio file where you will be you'll be explaining each line of a code. So that will be your second evaluation notebook. The data set will be a Kaggle data set, but then you will prepare end-to-end notebook and then record it. So that is component 2. Component 1 will have 5 to 6 questions max, and you just will be given to you today. You just have to find the answers and fill it in. So these are two components, and I've shared the agenda for today. I'll be taking a break and I'll join by 11 o'clock. And you can go through the thing. And if you have any choices for what your data set should be, I'm planning to give it on evaluation component data set as image classification data set. But if you have any decisions or choices on what your evaluation component, whether you want it as object detection or image segmentation or any specific data set or something like that, you can discuss and you can let me know at 11 o'clock. Or if you have not decided anything like that, then I will give you a data set which you prepare into a notebook record explaining every line of code. Every line of code in a sense, you'll have to explain the flow clearly what the problem statement is, because that explanation is going to give you mark. Unless and until you understand everything, you cannot do that. So, just blindly copying some random notebook from Kaggle and then submitting, I think anybody can do it. But if you understand the entire flow only, then you can actually record that audio. So that will be your evaluation component 2, and evaluation component 1 will be 5 questions which will be given to you, which you need to answer.
Ma'am, when we need to submit the component one today only?
Component 1 and 2, both you will be submitting only by next week. Okay. I'll join you at 11 o'clock. I'm just, I just woke up some time back and I just want to refresh and I'll join you at 11 o'clock. You can just
Don't
go through the agenda for today. No, there will be no break in the bit. It will be like 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock straight to us. So if you want to take a break, you can take it now. It's an open book test.
It's happening right now or in the afternoon session?
Right now. But they have time till, if people are not there in the class now, they have time to submit it till EOD today before 11:59. You have time. It's only 5 questions and it's an open book test. So Kaggle data set, I'll be sharing. If you have any suggestions, you can let me know, or I will give a data set. So what has to be done is end to end file. You have 1 week time for this. Type. So deadline is deadline is next Saturday, 28th May. EOD. Okay. So 1 week time. End-to-end pipeline the notebook with the participant explaining entire workflow. So actually, only if you understand it, you'll be able to explain it. If you don't understand it, you won't be able to explain it. So copying code from notebook, internet, anybody can do it. But only if you understand every component, you will be able to. So you have 1 week's time to browse about the code. You also have the numbers of all your teammates. If you do not understand that, you can actually call them up and you can say, so what is the data set you want as component? Do you have any choice? If you can tell that, if nobody has choice, then I will give a data set.
Ma'am, you told about the classification data set earlier.
Yeah, classification, I thought it's easy, but I would like to know your preference because, see, that day the 5 people presented, so they were very confident. But there were still a lot of people who were not confident because the evaluation component is for the entire batch. The main motivation is all of you should perform well in your exam, right? So I want to ensure, per data set which is chosen is working good for amongst all of you, which is in favor of all of you. So that is why I'm asking your preference. If nobody has preference, then I'll give you. It's not necessary classification. If you feel you're confident in segmentation, then I'm fine with it too. What is it you want?
Classification is good, madam, for me.
Okay, so can all of you unmute yourself and speak one by one? So, the majority will just go with that.
Classification, ma'am.
Classification,
Ma'am, this is
you have
federation.
any
That's fine.
specific data set? Specific data set in classification. We have discussed a lot of examples, right? Cassava leaf classification, flower classification, we discussed melanoma, skin cancer classification. Many topics we covered, right, the other day. Crop disease classification. That is one research paper, FGG, plant disease classification also we saw. So any particular competition in Kaggle or any open data set is something which you want to do, or what is it?
Prefer image segmentation.
Okay. Okay, Shivpriya wants image segmentation. Or can I keep it open so you can choose any of the topic, either image classification or segmentation, any of the data set you like, but prepare an end-to-end code, something like that? Or
Usha, we do prefer some of the choices from everyone, and we can pick one out of those one which is been chosen most.
okay, so what I'll do is just giving you short time and asking for decisions may not work. So now you get started with your component one assignment because it has to be conducted on a different day. And it's an open book source thing, which means you can browse and you can write the answers. It's not like nobody's monitoring you, like all of you are there in the house. So the main intention is there's nothing, out of the blue. The questions are only like what has been taught. So I'll explain the questions also. The evaluation component one is here. So the way you have to write is, what is TF record? TF record is a data structure which is used in TensorFlow ecosystem, and you also have TF records. Just that any file type can be converted into a data record, TF record, and it's very easy to use when you use it in conjunction with TensorFlow ecosystem. It's very fast. There are few capabilities which are very powerful about TF records. You have plenty of documentation out there. Read all the documentation and you're going to answer. There's no restrictions on word limit. The way you present your answer will fetch you marks. And what is the code snippet used to initialize TPU? I have already said there is a block of code, even whether you understand or not, that is a block of code which comes every time whenever you initialize TPU. So you can take that block of code and you can paste it. If you prefer to give an explanation, you can also give an explanation. But the question is just the pasting the block of code for TPU, right? Whenever you use TPU, there's a block of code which you need to use. What is it? Explain tfdata.api. This is used for building input pipelines in TensorFlow. So you need to understand the API to actually do. This is again an open-ended question, so which means you have plenty of documentation out there in TensorFlow itself and a lot of Medium articles. So you can explain it the way you like. There's no restrictions on word limit. So the better you write, the better marks you will get. And summarize the main ideas of efficient net research paper. So this is again going to take some at least 40 minutes to 15 minutes of your time. And so you have to spend a considerable amount of time summarizing the research paper. So you don't have to write the entire paper word to word translation. What you're going to say is the main ideas of the research paper. So one of the main ideas of efficient and research paper, what is it is, see, most of the research which has come out before efficient, and they were like focusing on depth wise, or they were focusing on other dimensions, but there was no research paper which was focusing on increasing all three dimensions. So this was increasing all three dimensions by a unique coefficient. So the main ideas you have to summarize, but the paper might be like 10, 12 pages. The only certain parts of the paper you need to pay attention. Like I'll share what part of the paper you need to actually pay attention. You need to summarize it. It's again open books test. There are plenty of Medium articles which has already done the summary, but don't blindly copy from the internet and paste it. You just have to understand what you're writing. The way you present it, I'll be able to find out whether you blindly copied from Medium article or you really understood it.
Ma'am, so this is, we have to write it and we have to explain it. Both we have to do via
No,
video, right?
only writing. Component
Yeah.
one is only writing.
Okay, only writing. And how much weightage for each questions?
Each question has 5 marks. This component 1 is a smaller component which comes for 25 marks, and the component 2 is a bigger component which comes for 75 marks.
Okay.
And so this research paper, if you go, the main concepts of the research paper would have been explained before experiments. All the research paper main concepts will end before the experiment. So it's only 5 pages. In addition to that, there will be at least some 10 to 15 Medium articles summarizing the paper. So for your reference, the main points of the paper will be already summarized, but your duty is to understand that and paraphrase it properly. It's only 5 pages. Same way you have unit paper. This is for image segmentation. Again, this also you'll have plenty of Medium articles summarizing it, but you should read all those Medium articles, read a couple of them and then paraphrase it, but you read also the original paper. So for efficient net before experiments, it's only 5 pages, right? So the same way the paper itself is 8 pages, and it's before experiments, it's again 5 pages. So there are also Medium articles which will, if you put units paper summary or something like that, they will find a lot of links. and you can actually read those links and paraphrase it. It's an open book test, so that shouldn't be a problem. And for people who are not there in the class right now, you have time till tonight, 11:59. Before 12 a.m. tonight, you are going to submit it, so you have plenty of time as well. Now I'm going to give you a couple of hours till 1 p.m. for completing your evaluation component 1. But then if you're not able to do justice to it, and if you want more time after today's session at 5 o'clock, you can still have time around 6 hours of time to actually complete it. And it's only 5 questions. Each question has got 5 marks, and it's a 25 mark small component. And the bigger component is 75 marks, which is an end-to-end implementation of a particular data set with audio recording, where you explain the complete workflow. The way you explain the workflow will determine your marks. So paying a lot of attention to it, I will get you more marks. The choice of the data set, I'll still give you time. Till 1 o'clock, you'll be completing your component 1. And after 1 to 2, you're in lunch break. And we will take another break from 2 to 3:30. You will have the first session where I'll be covering OCR and anomaly detection in images, GANs and all. And then 3:30 to 3:45 we'll have a break. When we come back at 3:45, you can let me know the by that time. I think you still have a lot of time to decide, and a couple of breaks as well. So by that time you can also call your classmates and discuss it. All your numbers, each other's numbers as well. So you can call your classmates and discuss it as well, whatever works for you. But after the 3:45 break, I would be asking for what have you decided about the data set. I would ask all of your opinions, write it down. And then, something which works for all the entire batch is something which will be decided as your data set. But that you have time till 3:45 break. After 3:45 break is when we'll finalize the component 2, and then we'll cover up GANs, and then we'll wind up the session at 5 p.m. So the first component is now it's an open book test. It starts now 11:05. It is, you have time till 1 p.m. You can either submit it at 1 p.m. because it's only 5 questions and it's nothing like open book test. But if you still feel, because there are a couple of paper summaries there which might be difficult and intimidating for certain people, and if you feel you still need more time, you have time till 12 a.m. tonight, and which means after 5 p.m. you have another 6 more hours to go. Even if you take dinner break and all that, also you've got 3-4 hours. I'll come back again if you've not got it for the first time. The 4th and 5th questions are research paper summaries, for which you will already find summaries out there. You need to read that summaries, and it's only 5 papers, because in a research paper before the experiment is where the main idea of the research paper is presented. So that 5 pages is what contains the entire thing. And if you find it intimidating to read the research paper directly, then read the paraphrasing which is written by other people. And then you come back to the research paper, understand it. But it's no restrictions on word limit, so you can take a call on how long you want it to be. But I'm not asking for paragraph by I'm not asking for paragraph by paragraph paraphrasing. What I'm asking for, the presenting the general idea of the paper, not paragraph by paragraph translation. The main ideas of the paper, you have to summarize it, is what is asked. But the presentation and all that is up to you. So there are 5 questions. It starts now and you complete it by 1 p.m. And then you have 1 to 2 as lunch. And then if you cannot complete, it's an open book test, so it should be able to complete it by 1 p.m. But worst case, for some people, you need more time. Then you have time till 12 a.m. today. So the first component ends today. And you have which is for 25 marks. Each question goes for 5 marks. All right. Is there any questions?
And one question on the assignment 2. The data set can also be from the cloud TPU as well. I mean the TensorFlow hub as well.
Yeah, you can have data sets, preloaded data sets from TensorFlow also. That is not an issue. But you should choose something which works for all your classmates. So it's good to brainstorm in WhatsApp where all of you are connected. Or if you personally know the numbers, you can call up and discuss as well. That's why I'm having this discussion after 2 breaks, which is like the lunch break. You have 1 hour time and you also have 15 minutes of break in the afternoon. Only after that, we are going to decide and finalize it. So you have a lot of time to discuss among your classmates. It can be any data set outside Kaggle also, which is accessible to everyone. That is something, and you can decide amongst your class members and you can come up to a conclusion. I will also be asking, you can unmute yourself and share your decision. I'll write it down in a document and we'll see what is working out for majority of the people and we'll go with it. Okay, get started with your component. Now it's already 11:10. It's a very easy assessment. It's an open book test. Please get started. And if you cannot complete it by 1 p.m., if you submit it by 1 p.m., great. If you cannot do it, you have time till 12 a.m. tonight. But the first component ends today. If you cannot complete the first component today, then ensure you get, that is, you are absent for today's session. You have not come for today's session, something like that, then ensure you get prior permissions and things like that. But if you're present in the session, then you have to complete it. Some people last class also, many people didn't turn up. For the session itself, they were absent. So if that is the case, just ensure you get prior permissions and things like that. All right. So you have time till 1 p.m. and after that you have a break for 1 hour. We'll go catch up at 2 p.m. It's very easy. You want any question to be removed or something like that. The reason why I'm giving efficient and research paper as your assessment, see, I'm not asking to paraphrase every line of the paper. It's only main ideas. At least use this chance. Through this chance, you will develop that habit of reading research paper. Otherwise, you will never end up reading research paper that seriously. So it's a great opportunity for you to practice. Instead of one, I've given 2 research paper. See, if you're specializing in computer vision and all, your day-to-day job, day in and day out, every day you'll read 2 papers. That is your job profile itself will be to read research paper. So when will you develop that skill? So this is a key skill. If you see in data science jobs, there are 2 types of jobs. One is a research oriented job and one is more of a business domain covering job. If you ended up getting a computer vision engineer, NLP engineer, these are very specific jobs where the day-to-day job, computer vision engineer, you're solving some of the critical problems in computer vision for your organization, which is the most, there are lots of jobs which are based on computer vision and lots of jobs which are NLP. So NLP engineers, computer vision engineers are very much in demand at this point of time. So if that is your job profile, day in and day out, you will read research papers, all the papers of premier conferences, that will be your job, a thing. You'll start your morning ritual by reading research paper. That is a very, very critical skill. Otherwise, if you go for data analytics kinds of job and all that, you may not read that much. You will read, but maybe not that much as like a morning ritual and kind of thing. This is a key skill. So that is why I've intentionally kept it like that, and hope you make use of it and develop, get better at it. All right, I don't want to talk and waste your time in the evaluation. You please go ahead with the exam and then I'll catch you all at 2 o'clock after your lunch break. At 3:45, we will be having the discussion on data set. Lunch break and that second break, you can call up your teammates or discuss in WhatsApp group and come up with some mutual decision, because each one will have each idea, but we need to see something which works for all of you. That is what is more important. All right, take care. Best of luck, best wishes for today's exam. Anyone has any questions? Can I catch you at 2 p.m.?
Yes, sure, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. 5 questions, very easy questions, open book test, shouldn't be a problem. Okay. Best wishes. Use this opportunity to develop research paper writing skills. And if at all your friends are absent for today's class itself, then ensure you get the proper permissions, because the evaluation ends today. It's supposed, according to your university guidelines, you're supposed to conduct multiple components, not just one component. And that component has to happen in different days. So this component is happening today, and you have time till midnight, 12 a.m. But if at all someone is absent for today's session itself, you're out of station, something like that, ensure you get the proper guidelines as per your university and things like that. That is up to you. And I'll catch you all at 2 o'clock.